Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie.
Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. For more information on how the CCIDA can assist your business, visit choosechq.com.
From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives.
Is getting vaccinated on your to-do list? We can help you check it off, because we make getting vaccinated easy. You've got this, because we've got you. To learn more, visit yougotthis.usaging.org.
From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
And a good morning to all of you, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and we are very glad you could join us today. We've got a great show in store for you because we're going to be digging, and I mean digging deep into the history of Chautauqua County and talking about a great event that's coming up here next week. Plus, I got two gentlemen here that are going to speak really authoritatively about history and all things Chautauqua. So stay tuned. I think you're going to enjoy this. I want to say good afternoon to all my listeners over in Europe, over in the Ukraine. Natalia, good afternoon. It's morning here, afternoon there. Hope you're doing well and that things progress positively out there. We're all on the edge of our seats watching what's going on with our world leaders, so fingers crossed something will happen positive. Good afternoon for those who are watching us in the Netherlands and in Belgium, across the United States, wherever you are, good morning and good afternoon. Even Australia watches us once in a while. All right, as you will remember, we also are on Spectrum 1301 throughout the week at 2 and 8, so you can watch all of us 14 times this week. How cool is that? Plus, we're on Facebook, and you can chime in if you want right this minute, and we're just glad you joined us. All right, so I also want to say good afternoon to my listeners on WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People in Jamestown, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. That's my radio voice, Jay. Okay. So glad you could join us, and we try to get the message out. Whatever is really cool and interesting here in Chautauqua County, across the county, by radio, by Facebook, by YouTube, by TV. What else did we do? Everything you can, we try to get it out there for you. Okay? Throughout the show, you may have a question. And guess what? Get it up there, Jeff. Here it comes. You can call us at 716-753-5225. If you have a question, a comment for my guest or myself, or if you have an announcement for your club or organization, a fundraiser, something important that's coming up that it's appropriate for our show and our listeners, happy to share that. Throughout the week, if you can't be watching this live and can't call in, you can always email us. And you might say, what do you mean? Well, you always see me with these yellow sheets. I don't know what color this is. And we get this information by email very often, and you can send me an email at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com throughout the week, and we'll be happy to get that information on the air for you. But remember, don't send me something that's happening in the middle of the week, something that's coming up a week or two from now, okay? Because I get a lot of information from different places, but it's already happened by the time we get here in the studio. So happy to do that. So please share your information with the rest of the county and the world. Happy to do that. Well, Justin, you're Justin. He's Jason. How was your morning drive in? It was pretty nice today, wasn't it? Foggy in Jamestown. What was on the lake? Hartfield. All right, so there you have my weatherman. If you're traveling right now and you're out along the lakes, be careful because the temperature inversions in that, you get a little bit of fog going. But coming out of Ripley this morning was absolutely gorgeous. It was a beautiful Chautauqua sunrise. You know what's kind of nice? I'm driving through the back hills and I was looking at corn and grapes and wildlife and deer, and there was a whole bunch of turkey. So it's what a great place to live in Chautauqua County, you know? All right, the weather's been super great if you like nice, warm, hot summer days. A little muggy, and we could stand a little more rain if you please. But I think we're going to get some tonight and tomorrow morning, I think. So just enough, keep the crops well watered, as my father would say, give them a drink, and helps out with the tomatoes too. All right, we got some announcements because I want to try to save as much time for my guests because they have a lot to talk about and it's really quite interesting. So let me get to our announcements, and Jeff, whenever you're ready, slide 15. One of my favorite movies that I like to share with my grandkids is all about dragons. So this is happening at the Reg Linnaeus Center for the Arts. And if you're new to the area, if you're vacationing right now here in Chautauqua County, we got a great theater down in Jamestown over on 3rd Street. How to Train Your Dragon is going to be shown on Wednesday, August 20th at 2 p.m. So it's a nice time for kids. It's a live-action remake of the 2010 animated film on the rugged Isle of Burke, where Vikings and dragons have been bitter enemies for generations. What could be better? Vikings and dragons. All right. Hiccup, interesting name, he's the star of the show, stands apart. The inventive yet overlooked son of Chief Stoic the Vast, played by Gerald Butler, reprising his voice role from the animated franchise. Sounds very Scottish, by the way. Hiccup defies centuries of tradition when he befriends Toothless, a feared night fury dragon. Their unlikely bond reveals the true nature of dragons, challenging the very foundations of Viking society. Imagine hating dragons for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden this dude shows up and he trains his dragon to be friendly. Well, anyways, it's a lot of fun. It's 125 minutes long. Then, when that's not enough, we got Puppy Pals Live. It's a family action-packed show where adopted and rescued dogs perform spectacular stunts and breathtaking feats. Watch as they lead the puppies and audience through challenging and comical tricks as the pooches show everyone who is really the boss. Full of canine stunts and laugh-out-loud canine comedy, it's no surprise this show has been a hit all over America. So I've seen them on TV. They're really quite talented. And my dog Brody could do whatever they do. I'm sure of it. Tickets for most movies at the Reg are only $8 in person. I mean, where can you go for $8 for a couple hours of fun? All right, $10 online. If you want, you can give them a call at 716-484-7070. That's the box office. And family films, listen to this, are $7 in person. So you save $1 or $9 online. So check it out over at 116 East 3rd Street in Jamestown. I recommend it. All right. This is one of those mark your calendars announcements. And so over in Westfield, we can leave those guys now, Jeff. Over in Westfield, we got the First Friday event. Now you might say, well, what's a First Friday? First Friday of the month, they do, I think, from May maybe, or June, somewhere in there. It's always the first Friday of the month. They do some really fun things in Jamestown. They close down the streets, and let me tell you what it is. So this is September 5. You might say, why are you talking about September already? Guess what? Today's the 16th of August. This is only a couple weeks away. I don't know where the summer's gone. First Friday in Westfield is fun for the whole family. Enjoy open businesses along Main Street, along with street vendors, food trucks, live entertainment, and a whole lot more. For the third summer in a row, there's a traditional street party in Westfield spills into the street as the CHQ Chamber I'm a member of that, has secured a permit from the New York State Department of Transportation to close Route 20 in the village during the event. Route 20, excuse me, or East Main Street, will be temporarily closed to all traffic from Portage, which is Route 394, to Union Street, with limited traffic from Union to Pearl Street. First Friday will run from 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday, September 5. Okay, and they have a bunch of sponsors, so that's really a fun thing to do. All right, here's another announcement. This takes place tomorrow. Today. Join Hultquist Place of Lutherans' second annual Community Day on Saturday, August 16th. That's today, from noon to 4. So after the show today, get in your car and go over there to their beautiful Faulkner Street campus. Experience local vendors, tasty food trucks, live music, and kids' activities. This event is not only a free community celebration, but also a showcase of their beautiful assisted living facility. And they want to thank their sponsors, Hultquist Place, Media One Radio, UPMC Chautauqua, and so forth. Free admission and parking, all are welcome. If you've never been there, I have played there a number of times over the years. Inside, outside, out in the gazebo, in the main room. It's a gorgeous facility. Go check it out. All right, then we got something that's going on this weekend called the Chautauqua County Antique Equipment Association 50th Annual Show. It's being held today and tomorrow at the Chautauqua County Antique Equipment Association at 4578 Cemetery Road in Stockton, New York. That's all I have on it. What's that? The Fireman's Grounds. Is that what you said, Jeff? Okay, Jeff is whispering these things in my earpiece. And so go to Stockton, go to the Fireman's Grounds. They got a big marquee over the top of the area, and it tells you Fireman's Grounds. So that's today. I don't have any times, but I'm assuming it's all day. All right, then as we speak, right now, if you go out on 394, be careful. This is your warning. We have the Chautauqua Grand Fondo. All right, if you're a bicyclist, this is one of your things that you might be involved with. I can't. I'm a bicyclist, but it's during my show time. So you might say, well, what's the big deal? There's hundreds of bike riders, and they're going to be riding 100 miles, 60 milers, 40 milers, 25 milers, and 20 milers. And those are all taking place at different times. So right now, I'm looking at my clock. The 25 milers just took off, but the others, the 100, 60, and the 40, they already are on the roads, and they are going to be all over our area here, so be careful. At 10 a.m., the 20 milers start. So please, I'm a bicyclist, and generally people are very, very respectful of us, but you know, it's only one day, people. Just move over to the left a little bit and give these guys and gals some room. What is it? Chautauqua Grand Fondo is a community event designed to promote health and well-being for cyclists of all skill levels while raising funds for local nonprofit organizations. Participants will have the opportunity to enjoy the beauty of Chautauqua Lake and its surrounding historic destinations on one of 5 scenic routes, as we just mentioned. So please be advised, people are riding their bikes around the lake area, and just be careful. All right, here's another fun one. This is taking place this Thursday. There's a walk tour of Point Chautauqua. So this is a video walking tour of Point Chautauqua, filmed and narrated by local historian, photojournalist, and author Jane Curry. This will be the Chautauqua Town Historical Society. We got a lot of history going on here today. Society's monthly meeting and lecture Thursday, August 21 at 7 p.m. in the Chautauqua Town Hall, Veterans Memorial Meeting, Room 2, Academy Street. Let me say that one more time. Chautauqua Town Hall, Veterans Memorial Meeting, Room 2, Academy Street, Mayville. Jane Curry, with her co-author Kathleen Crocker, has published 5 books on the Lake Chautauqua region, with Arcadia Publishing, a major publishing of popular regional history and geography books. The first was Chautauqua Institution, followed by Chautauqua Lake Region, then one on Jamestown, one on Westfield, and most recently, Legendary Locals of the Chautauqua Lake Region. The video tour that Curry will be showing was actually shot in 1995, so this is the 30th anniversary, and is led by Ford Cadwell, Curry's stepfather, a year before he passed away. So again, that's going to be August 21, 7 p.m., Chautauqua Town Hall, Veterans Memorial Meeting, Room 2 Academy Street. Okay, so if you're interested, that's coming up. All right, when the Grand Fondo wasn't enough, there's another one. 42nd Annual Tour of Chautauqua Bicycle Ride. We do a lot of bicycling here in Chautauqua County. You know, it's a very European thing too. If you ever go to Europe, everybody rides bikes there. The Westfield Recreation Department is once again sponsoring the Chautauqua Bicycle Ride. The 42nd tour of Chautauqua Bicycle Ride will take place on Saturday, September 13th, so mark your calendars. Hundreds of riders are expected to participate in this largest and best century ride in Chautauqua County. Whew. Riders have a choice of 4 distances, 25, 50, 75, and 100. The 25-mile follows the Lake Erie Plain. Antique shops, restaurants, and wineries are on this tour. The 40, 75, and 100 miles feature a variety of flat roads, hills, lake views, small towns, and scenic areas of Chautauqua County. Gosh, if you want to see Chautauqua County and you ride bike, this is yours. All tours begin and end in Westfield. Westfield, of course, is just up the road, 1.5 miles south of exit 60 on the thruway. All 4 of the rides start and end at Moore Park, right in the heart of Westfield, at the intersection of 20 and 394. All right, check-in is at 7:30 and 8:45 at Easton Hall. All tours begin with a mass start at 9 a.m. There's maps and so forth. So you might want to say, well, who do I contact? So this is the deal. It's $35. You get a T-shirt. Sounds good. And usually they have beverages and things like that and stuff. Talk to, where's his name? There it goes. Andrew Weber, 716-753-6842. Again, 716-753-6842. Last one. This is really cool. This is one of those things that puts our area on the map of the world, and especially Jamestown. The city of Jamestown is excited to welcome baseball fans from near and far to the 2025 Babe Ruth 13-year-old World Series. You involved with that?
Not this year.
Not this year. Taking place August 16th, that's today, through the 23rd at Russell Dietrich Stadium, which is right next to Jamestown Community College. This year marks a special milestone, the 45th anniversary of the very first Babe Ruth World Series, which was held right here in Jamestown, New York in 1980. Since that inaugural event, Jamestown has proudly hosted this prestigious tournament 20 times, establishing itself as a central hub for youth baseball, excellence, and community celebration. This year, 9 teams, this is really, really cool, listen to this, representing various regions across the United States, as well as an international team from Australia, will come together in Jamestown to deliver top-level competition and showcase a wide range of talent. So here we go. Host team is Jamestown, New York. International team, Australia. Then we have Pacific West, Port Angeles from Washington. That is the state of. Southwest is being represented by Eagle Pass from Texas. From the Pacific Southwest, Price, Utah. From New England, Stamford, Connecticut. Mid-Atlantic is Broomwall, Newton from Pennsylvania. Ohio Valley, Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Midwest Plains, Centennial, Colorado. And Southeast Tallahassee, Florida. Good thing I studied geography so I get all these abbreviations right. This lineup from across the country and around the world underscores the national and international prestige of the Babe Ruth World Series, giving Jamestown residents a unique opportunity to witness some of the best youth baseball talent from coast to coast and beyond. Festivities began with a family-friendly meet and greet event last night. And the pedestrian-friendly event offers a unique chance to meet the players and coaches and get into the spirit of the tournament. The first official games begin today at Dietrich Park, with opening ceremonies just scheduled at 7 p.m. tonight. So lots of sponsors and good things, and sounds like a good time. Get out there and enjoy Babe Ruth League baseball. And remember, we've got the tarp skunks. I'll bet some of these kids end up on the tarp skunks as well down the road. All right, we're going to take a breather, and my guests are just chomping at the bit to tell you all about Chautauqua County history. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, hon.
Are you almost home?
Yeah, I'll make it. There's just some construction slowing me down.
All right, I'm sending them.
Kids, Mom will be home soon. Come help in the kitchen.
Everyone has a reason to get home. Slow down in work zones. Flaggers have families too.
I didn't know about it.
Okay, we're back, and I want to, first of all, invite for the first time Norman Carlson, who is the Chautauqua County historian, and welcome back Jason Sample, who's the president of the Chautauqua County Historical Society and the voice all over the world in sports and part of the Chautauqua IDA. And so, guys, welcome. We got a lot to talk about, but we're going to talk about a couple things before we get to history. So, Jason, you got the floor. September 13th. What's going on?
Oh, no, I was just telling you during the break that there's a Paint CHQ event happening, which is a countywide mural festival happening specifically in 4 different locations: Westfield, Sherman, in Falconer, as well as Dunkirk. But there's a lot of details already out there on Facebook and online. But it's really an exciting thing where professional muralists from around the world, including
2 weeks ago,
including Switzerland, will be here. So I was just asking you if you were aware of that, and if it's something you can mention on your show in future weeks. But I'm happy to talk about it right now.
We just did now for the second time. And Norm, you had something to talk about the Mayville Bluegrass Festival. Do you know when that is by any chance?
Oh, it's today.
Oh, today. Okay, is it in the Mayville Park? Where is it at?
No, it's at Elm Flats Brewery.
Oh,
Big Inlet.
Big Inlet. I played there a number of times. So, yep, that's over Elm Flats. So.
And, Bill Ward's done a wonderful job organizing that.
Yep.
So.
And people say, well, why didn't you announce it? Well, people don't send me the information. I don't have it, so I don't ever want to just mess things up.
And, of course, the equipment show goes on today. And
we mentioned that one, the historical farm equipment show, All right, guys, we're going to talk about some things going on here in the county, especially something that's coming up next weekend, but we're going to get to that. We're going to savor that, and we're going to wait on that. So let's start with Norman. You're first time with us here. And so, Norman, who are you? Where are you from and all that stuff? What do you want to tell us?
Well, I'm the Chautauqua County historian, official Chautauqua County historian. I started on the job May 2nd, 2024. And I'm also the chairman of the History Expo Committee that is putting on this Chautauqua County History Expo a week from today.
All right, and we're going to get to that in a little while. So where were you born? Are you a Chautauquan, or where do you come from?
Well, I tell people I've been here since 1905. My family's been in the same house, and actually in the town of Busteye since 1872. And other than when I was at school, I have lived in Busteye all my life.
Where'd you go to school?
Southwestern.
Okay.
And I actually started in a one-room school. It was centralized, but I had the privilege of attending 2 years in a one-room school.
Where was that located?
Wellman Road School.
Okay. Y'all know that I'm the historian in Ripley, and we had 12 one-room schools for many, many years, till about the 40s, and lots of them disappeared long before that. But sometimes you drive by and you look at this little building and somebody's living there now, and you go, wait a minute, that's kind of a strange-looking building. You find out it was an old little one-room schoolhouse. So they were all over Chautauqua County, weren't they?
Well, for well over 100 years throughout New York State, the whole education system was based on these one-room schools in their little districts.
Right.
It was the smallest unit of democracy probably in history. Smaller than the city-states of Greece.
So what did you do for a living?
Well, I farmed for many years, but for almost 30 years I worked as a collections manager at the Fenton History Center.
Oh, okay. So in farming, what was your crop?
Well, my father and I had a dairy farm.
Okay, so that's pretty popular out that way. Okay. So how many head did you have?
We only milked 23 cows, and we had another 10 that we were growing up as replacements, 10 to 15.
That's a tough business, especially nowadays.
It's a lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work, and you never have vacation unless you get somebody to come in to take care of those 23
My father never had a night or morning off in 23 years.
Wow, that's dedication, and we certainly appreciate all the farmers in Chautauqua County. And we've talked about a lot of the good things that are going on with the farmers market and all the local produce. We just had Melissa Badamy here on the show last week that's processing great products, and just all kinds of folks that are doing good work with agriculture in Chautauqua County. So that's great. So why in the world would you leave dairy farming?
Well, I tell people that museum work was the only other job I could find that paid as low.
It's got to be a passion, doesn't it? So how many years were you with Fenton, or are you still with them? I don't know.
No, 29 years.
Wow. So what did you do?
I was the collections manager. If you had something you wanted to give, you brought it in and I took it or rejected it. Then I documented it, put it all in the computer, made sure that it was stored properly, And when someone wanted it for study, a reference, or an exhibit, well, I found it and brought it out.
You know, people might say, what is the big deal storing old stuff? Who cares? You know, and you know, and you know, all the three of us in this room, and many that are watching, it is great, what's the word I want to say? Thanks to the historians that do that sort of thing, because you don't realize 25, 30, 40 years from now, someone's going to want to know about that. Or someone wants to know, well, was my family involved with this or that, or what is this part, where does it go to? And we provide answers as historians, and we preserve the history. I followed the footsteps of Marie McCutcheon. I'm sure you knew her from Ripley. For 25 years, she documented everything, and I've got binders and binders, and I can't even imagine what the time and effort that you all do and did over those years. It's incredible, and as you say, for very low or no pay.
If you're not interested in history, you're missing a whole dimension. It's just like living in a flat world.
Yeah.
Literally, you know, Einstein redefined reality as space-time.
Mm-hmm.
Time is a dimension. And the universe, the world was not created when you were born. There are an infinite number of unbelievably fascinating things that happened right here where you are before you were born.
Right. And there's the old saying, we live on the shoulders of those that came before us, and before them, and before them. I mean, it just, like you said, it just didn't all happen. You know, somebody had to clear the lands and have ideas and visions and hard work and lived and died and you know, provided for us now in these days. So yeah, history is really important. I don't know how it was for you guys in school. I had history teachers that were absolutely boring. You know, we were relegated to learning, you know, when did Champlain, you know, discover whatever, and when did Ponce de Leon go to Florida? I mean, it was always dates and names of people. It never really came alive. And now, as a historian, and as you guys are, all of a sudden now we can approach it in a whole different way.
Well, you're absolutely right. The only way to make history boring is to leave out all of the details. The more you know, the more interesting it is.
Yeah, and painting people's lives. You know, I'll do a little plug, and I think you guys do this in the Jamestown area, where you have cemetery tours. Okay, I've been working with the Westfield group, and I'm not giving away my character this year, but I'm growing my beard for a particular reason. This is pretty long for me, but I'll be doing a character in the cemetery tour coming up in September. But I know Jamestown does Saints and Sinners, or
yeah, the Fenton History Center. Norman probably knows more about that than I do.
Right, but I mean, but that's where people really learn about people's lives, right?
That's right. That's been going on for many years, and it's a main event for the Fenton History Center, and research is done on various people that are buried in Lakeview Cemetery, and then some of them are portrayed in costume and character.
I'll just say, as somebody who lives on the north side of Jamestown, I enjoy running, and I run through the cemetery on a regular basis, but you don't really appreciate or come to understand the number of unique individuals and stories that can be told from those who are in the cemetery, other than attending one of these tours, because they always rotate different individuals, and you don't get the same thing twice. So it really is a wonderful opportunity to learn more about our local history through what the Fenton does. And I just, like I said, I enjoy running through the cemetery, but until you actually attend one of these tours, you only scratch the surface when you just
I'll
walk
be in
through
my
there.
third character. Last year I was Charles Welch, from the founder of Welch's. But you know, here's a piece, and then and we'll continue on our discussion, that a lot of people don't realize. Y'all have James Prendergast, right? Okay, he founded Jamestown, blah, 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 blah. Half of his family lived in Ripley at one point. People don't even realize that Prendergast lived right down the road from where I live right now, and they were all like cousins or uncles and aunts to James Prendergast.
Huge family, and then he moved to Kyneton for his final years.
Yeah, but we always think of us so separated, you know, and east and west and north and south and all that business, but Chautauqua County just, everybody moved all over the place. But there was a strong Jamestown-Ripley connection over the years. So I've been finding that very interesting. Jason, what got you involved with history? Norm, tell us a little bit about his.
Well, you know, I mean, obviously I've always been interested in history since I was a kid because of just curiosity about, as Norman indicated, what happened here before I was here, kind of a thing. But I think it was 2010, I was working as an editor of the Chautauqua Star newspaper, and I was doing a story on the McClurg Museum, and Jack Erickson and John Paul Wolf said that we would love to have somebody on our board who has familiarity with publicity and marketing. So I really came in as somebody who could help promote and advertise and share the things that the McClurg Museum was doing and the Chautauqua County Historical Society was doing. And so I've been a trustee since 2011, helping them out in that capacity. I would help organize lectures and presentations and things along that line. I was the chair of the event committee. And then Christy Herbst, who's done a wonderful job as our president for the past decade, 10 years. I mean, after 10 years of running an organization that's strictly volunteer driven, it can take a lot out of you. And so she was ready to not leave the board, but take a break from that role as president. And nobody else was willing to do it. They asked me to do it, and I said I've had experience with serving as the chair of a board before through Infinity Visual and Performing Arts in Jamestown. I did that for 6 years.
Good friends of ours.
Yeah, so I was the president of that board, and I said I know how to preside over a meeting, and I can help out in that respect, but it's a lot more than what I was doing at Infinity, but very enjoyable as well. So yeah, you know, for I guess the past 15 years now, I've been involved with the County Historical Society as a trustee and a volunteer and helping to organize events, and now I am the current president. I was elected by our board in January of this year as the president.
All right, so Norman's involved with the Fenton. You're with the, what's the difference?
Well, I was.
You were involved with the Fenton, and so what's the difference between the Fenton Historical Society and the Chautauqua County Historical Society?
Two entirely separate organizations, and each has their own personnel, their own staff, their own mission. The basic difference is that the county is obviously county-wide in its scope, its interest, its collections policy, whereas Fenton is Jamestown and immediately adjacent southern Chautauqua County.
Okay.
But we all work together well. Right. You know, we try to collaborate with one another whenever possible. A good example would be for years and years, Reuben Fenton's work desk was at the McClurg Museum. And over time, we determined, well, it's great that it was donated to the County Historical Society at the time, because I don't think the Fenton existed at the time when this desk was donated, but we said really a good home for that would be in Jamestown at the Fenton Mansion. You know, the center is named after Reuben Fenton, the governor of New York State, and while we took pride in caring for that out and displaying it, along with some other items that we had belonging to the Fenton family, we knew the best home for that was the Fenton History Center. So in 2023, I think it was, Christy Herbst and our board had determined, let's deaccession the item and donate it to the Fenton. And that's kind of a way that we collaborate and work with each other.
Send it home.
Yeah, just because we're county-wide doesn't mean we don't find a more appropriate or better place for some of the items in our collections and try to direct it toward where it's probably best presented.
And there's also the Barker Museum and the several small town historical societies with museums, and frequently when items would come in, ethically, this was the course, and I would do this if they were more appropriate to one of the town museums, town historical societies. I would recommend the person approach them first.
Right. I'll piggyback on what you just talked about. Is people that are listening or watching right now, if you have an artifact that you have sitting in your home and you think, well, this is really nothing that I need or want, and it needs a good home, contact your local historian. And every municipality is required to have a town historian. And here's the story I want to share with you, is that Dave Brown, you all know Dave Brown, Dr. Dave Brown, twice now has donated to the Ripley Archives, I call it, because we're not a historical society, I'm it. But the saber, dress saber from Milton Goodrich, who was a captain in the Civil War, he donated the saber, and he just donated the muster roll from 1862, where Milton Goodrich was the captain, and all the people that signed up in Westfield that particular stretch to go to the Civil War, and they were in Gettysburg and all kinds of places. So he gave them the original muster roll. And so that's where people, just like you said, this should go home. This should go back to where it started. And so that's really, really cool. Norma, what do you do as a county historian? That's a whole different role, right?
That's right. Many, many different things. In fact, it's wonderful the way my job is officially described. Almost anything I think of, and I think of a lot. And I have 4 very fine volunteers. We're involved in a great many projects to document, save, extract historical and genealogical data. I have one man that's my field man. He's conducting interviews. Now, right now, I am acting as chairman of the History Expo committee, and that's a big part of my job. And another thing that I'm very proud of and is considered very important, I saved the AVM in-house collection of voting machines that the company itself had collected and preserved, and it was headed for the scrapyard.
Jones and Gifford, right? Down on that road? Is that where AVM was, I think?
Yes.
Yep.
It was headed for the scrapyard the next day, and I'm holding on to them myself, but I'm hoping to get that in the Smithsonian or some other major museum.
Beautiful.
It's an extremely significant collection of the history of the technology of American voting. It's such a big part of American history. And those machines go back before the turn of the 20th century.
Whoa.
One of them has William McKinley and Bryan on the ballot.
Isn't that amazing? Right here in Chautauqua County. Cool. You know, I have a similar story. Again, we're all comparing notes here. I got a phone call one day and they said, we're cleaning out the library in Ripley and there's some things up here you might want. Well, you all know the Jamestown Post-Journal and the Westfield Republican are all digitized and so forth, and you go on the New York State historical newspapers and you can find all that. Ripley is not digitized. So when I get up to the library and there's like 14 8-carton boxes full of the newspapers back to the 30s to like the 70s, and they were ready for the dumpster, and they said, did you want them? I go, yeah. And oh my God, I pulled all the muscles in my back, because imagine lifting up this, I don't even know what the dimension, 3x2 or whatever, just full of newspaper. And they now sit on the top of all these cabinets, and when somebody comes and says, do you have a picture of a Halloween from 1954? And then I gotta go, which box is it? And I gotta pull it down and pull out all these papers, and the papers are disintegrating, so I gotta be so careful. But it's like you just said, there's stuff out there that needs to be preserved, because if we don't preserve them, it's nowhere to be found.
Information in there is preserved nowhere else.
Yeah. And I think that's the job of historians, you know. So what's your role with throughout the county with the other historical sites and historians?
I have constant communication with the local historians. By the local historians, I mean the officially appointed town, village, and city historians that by New York law, every unit in New York State must have. And I send them emails. I inform them of the regional and state meetings that we have. I inform them about events that are important from the state historian's point of view, such as the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, the 200th anniversary of the completion of the Erie Canal. And I just try to keep them in touch with me and one another. And I have not yet organized a meeting, a local meeting, but that is something I should do.
All in time. So you're sort of like this umbrella person that kind of keeps people organized and help them out, and a resource, I think, as well, right?
Absolutely, in addition to the things I do myself out of my own office.
So you're paid as a county employee, so people are watching right now, they're going to say, so well, how's that affect me? Do you help the general public?
Oh yes, all the time, just about every day, I get one or more calls or emails with a question. How do I find somebody who's buried in such and such a cemetery? And usually, you know, it's how do I find an immigration record for my great-grandfather? And I have the index for that, right? So that's a very frequent call that I get. Somebody's looking for a marriage record way back in the 1840s, you know, and I have to know what records there exist, where they are, how you access them, what you do if that record doesn't exist, and I help people in that way. All of that's a very big part of my job.
Yeah, and I think for all the historians, at some level, we're helping. And ladies and gentlemen, and you back me up on this, Norman, there are no birth records before 1881 in Chautauqua County. Am I right?
Not quite.
Well, organized.
No, there was a period, 1847 to 51,
okay,
where official vital records were supposed to be collected by the little school districts, no less,
right,
and turned into the town supervisor, who of course did not have an office at that time. And surprisingly surprisingly many of the towns in Chautauqua County, those are preserved. Some year it wasn't birth, death, and marriage complete every year, and I don't know which year was which. But some of those records are preserved in towns, and I do have a listing of those on my website.
Okay, but for the most part, people ask for a lot of this information, and we can't find it in many cases. So be patient with the historians. We do the best we can.
I just want to say that, we're blessed to have Norman as a historian. I used to always kid around, but, half jokingly, of course, is that Norman has forgotten more local history than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
I think he's a valuable resource.
Right.
Michelle Henry, his predecessor, was also somebody, as we all know, did a wonderful job. And I think Chautauqua County, I can't compare notes with all the other counties around New York State, but I would say, pound for pound, we punch well above our weight when it comes to preserving our history, being proud of our history, and having individuals, municipal historians at the county level who have worked hard to help preserve history, share history, and work with anyone who is curious about history. So thank you, Norman, and thanks to Michelle. And I always tell people I'm not a historian. I'm not a municipal historian. The County Historical Society is a private, nonprofit agency. It has nothing to do with the government. And sometimes people get confused. Well, I thought you were involved with the county government. I'm like, no, we were established in 1883 as a nonprofit organization. And just like all the other historical societies, they're not government run, but a lot of the historians serve on the boards there, so there is that connection, and that's very important to have that overlap and that connectivity. But oftentimes people will misconstrue the County Historical Society as being some kind of quasi-government agency, and we have nothing to do with the government other than having the benefit of working with government officials, whether it be an appointed historian or things along those lines.
Both historical societies and the official historians will be present and represented at this History Expo. And people can come there and talk to them and figure out which is which and which one is going to be the one they want.
And we're going to talk about that, and I still have lots of time. So what I want to do is, before we get to that, and I promise you, we're going to talk about the Expo here in a minute because we have a poster and stuff like that. But we've talked about the Historical Society at the McClurg in Westfield. We talked about the Fenton Museum in Jamestown. What can people see? Just give us the elevator speech, the short version. If somebody went to the Fenton, what would they see, and what would they do there?
Well, Fenton is a four-story museum.
What was it to begin with? Somebody's residence, or
it was the home of New York State Governor Reuben E. Fenton, and was built during the Civil War.
Okay.
Fenton had a long political career. There is no current biography of him. One is in the final stages of production now, at publication, and it was based on a 1939 master's thesis that Helen McMahon produced at Cornell University. It is the local history museum for Jamestown and southern Chautauqua County. There is exhibit room after exhibit room after exhibit room, plus there's the Hall House that has the library and the archives in it, which is the research center. That's Fenton.
Is there admission?
Yes, there's an admission.
How much?
It's $10, I think.
To go in for the day and hang around?
So I shouldn't say it because I'm not sure.
That's okay. There's admission. You have to call and find out. So if I were what are the 2 or 3 of your favorite displays at the Fenton?
The largest display there, the largest exhibit room, is the furniture exhibit.
Okay.
There are rooms that are room exhibits. They're set up to illustrate, because Mr. Fenton was a wealthy man. He was obviously very highly placed politically and socially, and this was the early high Victorian era. Okay. And it's very appropriate that rooms.
So you can go back in time.
In fact, the drawing room was redone in a major way in 1982 and no expense was spared, you might say, in reproducing the carpet, the furniture, the window treatment, curtains, and so forth. And then there are rotating temporary exhibits that now there's one on the early settlement era, and I like that period of history. I'm interested in early things and how things began. There's the military room, which is a big focus down there because with Barbara Cessna, there's so much activity for the veterans and with the veterans, and that military room reflects it. And of course, Fenton being governor during the Civil War, we start on that basis. Unlike the Westfield Museum, which can go back to the Revolutionary War, you know, and certainly back to 1812. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is encourage people, go to the Fenton, check it out, you know. And people, you know, in different parts of the county, we visit locally, but we need to go see the Fenton. All right, your turn, Jason. Now, the McClurg Mansion, you said it was somebody's house?
Yeah, and the McClurg Museum, over 200 years old now. I believe it was initially started in the late 18-teens and completed about 1823, if I'm not mistaken. Michelle Henry did a wonderful presentation on the 200th anniversary. Founded by an industrialist and sort of a local early pioneer of Chautauqua County, William McClurg, known as McClurg's Folly because it was a federal-style mansion in an area that was predominantly covered by log cabins and houses, and they're like, what is this guy building here?
And it was one of the first brick buildings in Chautauqua County.
So it sits right in the middle of Moore Park in Westfield. It's owned by the village currently, but he established this home, lived there for several decades. It also had a connection with one of Reuben Fenton's associates, and of course Abraham Lincoln's Secretary of State, William Seward, who came here from Batavia in the late 1830s to settle some unrest with local residents who were disappointed with the Holland Land Company and its role in basically calling for the money they owed and the debts that they had incurred. And they said, we don't have the money. We've had some really bad years, downtime. The economy's not going the way we wanted. And they said, well, you better pay us or we're going to take your land back. And that's when the local residents, feisty as ever in Chautauqua County, determined that we're going to do our best to keep our land. And they kind of did something known as the Holland Land Company riot of 1836.
1836,
and they stormed the land vault and destroyed everything. And Peacock was an...
Peacock.
He was well known as somebody who was a surveyor of Chautauqua County, but also the land agent for the land company. They threatened his life and said that, you know, we're going to run you out of town on a rail and you better get out of here. And so he wrote a letter to Batavia and said, the residents here are not happy, we need help. And they sent William Seward, who was a young land agent at the time, and he really had a knack for calming people down and working with them and found a way to settle all their grievances in a somewhat relatively efficient manner, because he wasn't in Westfield for a long time. I think it was for about a year or so.
Yeah, about 2 years, I think.
And so, you know, William Seward bought Alaska, did great work with, I mean, here's somebody who's had world implications, who was right here in Chautauqua County.
And that's the beauty of Chautauqua County and the history is people have no idea how important our region was in those days. It was the frontier.
So, and we have great displays. So getting back to the McClurg, we have great displays about Seward's time here. We also have displays about the village of Westfield and the town of Westfield itself, but we're also countywide. The Holland Land Company artifacts can be there, things about Chautauqua Lake. We have Native American artifacts.
Which is my favorite down in the basement. I love
the
going
basement.
Down there.
It's a cool place, I always tell people, for two reasons. One, because it's cool. It's literally, you know,
very nice.
The basement, but it also has a lot of wonderful artifacts from pioneering implements to display on Chautauqua Lake. But we also have an upstairs that we have a military room and a Civil War room where we honor the Cushing brothers who were Civil War heroes. We also have Albion Tourget's papers and work, and we just had a law clerk from Buffalo come down to research them. And we have a research library as well, as does the Fenton. So yeah, you know, just it's wonderful to walk through there, and I had a chance to be a docent for a couple of weekends this summer, and people who have never been in there before come out and say, wow, I wish I had more time. They come into the farmer's market and think they're going to cool off for maybe a half an hour. They come back an hour and a half later and say, I wish I had more time to walk through this because it's a wonderful place.
I got a great story to share with you guys. I'll get to you in Norman in a second. So the Historical Society always has their annual gala, and I've played for that for a few years, right in the main living room there. And so I'm standing there and I'm playing and I'm looking up at the paintings, and they got this one family portrait.
Oh, the children, yeah.
The creepy children. And I kept saying to the people, is that spooky or is it just me? And then finally we realized what the deal was. They paint the body first, and then they put the head of the child later. And so the neck looks like it's like, like this, and it just creeped me right out. So I always, whenever I'm there, I always think of that moment when I first looked at that painting. I'm playing my mandolin or guitar or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's spooky. Norman, you were going to say
Jason,
something?
I was going to say one thing I find interesting. It's 1820, and you want to build a brick house in Frontier, Chautauqua County. Where do you get the bricks?
Right. Yeah. And I think Michelle did some research on that. I can't remember specifically, so I don't want to misstate or be incorrect on how they got the bricks there. But Michelle did do a little bit of research on the bricks. You might be familiar with that. Yeah, well, yeah, you got to bake the bricks and all that, but where do you find the right kind of materials to make the bricks? Yeah, was it mud or was it a certain type of shale that was, pulverized and then baked? So I have no idea what process they used.
It can't be very far away because there's no roads, there's no railroads, there's no canals.
McClurg was an industrialist from Pittsburgh, and he made cannons, so he kind of made his bank on the War of 1812.
I was going to say, I will bet the bricks came in from Pittsburgh area because there's so much brick down there.
No, they made them local.
But he probably had familiarity.
Oh, come on, no bricks from Pittsburgh?
He probably had familiarity in how to make them based on his work in a larger area.
If you were bringing them from Pittsburgh, you would have to pull them up the river.
Of course, there's no problem.
Through Warren, through Jamestown, up the rapids, which wasn't exactly a great place.
Against the current.
What's a couple million bricks?
With human power.
We got a phone call, guys. Let's see what's going on here. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. This is Linda Spalding. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning,
gentlemen. I'm so glad to see you on about the historical group and the preservation, and I'm a big fan of all of this, and the history in Chautauqua County is amazing.
It is,
so
truly.
I plan on cooperating and participating. Thank you for doing this.
Well, we haven't even gone into the event, and that's what we're going to do right after this phone call. You got to check this out, Linda, because this is going to be a really phenomenal event coming up, okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks for the call.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay, and thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right, thank you. All right, Jeff, this is the moment. Let's pop up the poster, and I don't care who wants to talk to this. Who's the chairman? You're the chairman?
I'm chairman of the committee.
All right, History Expo next Saturday, August 23. Tell us what's going on.
There will be something like 36 historical societies, official historians, genealogical societies, lineage societies, specialized societies like the Stowe Ferry and the Antique Equipment Association. There will be neighboring groups like the Erie Genealogical Society and the Western New York Genealogical Society. And they will be history, they will be genealogy, and they will be varied, and they will be interesting, and there will be many of them. And you talk about $8 for a movie. This is free, and it's all day, and it's going to be surprise after surprise, delight after delight.
So what's the format, Jason? If all these folks are going to be there, are going to be talks?
Well, the great thing is that there's going to be booths, right? 6 to 8 foot tables. So each representative from the various groups, whether it be the library or the historians or the societies, et cetera, that Norm just talked about, they're each going to have their own booth and table set up where you can go to them and learn more about what they have, but they're also going to bring artifacts from their collections on hand. So you can go there. I, for example, represent the County Historical Society. I've got an 1829 map of Chautauqua County that's really unique because there's places on there that we've never heard of this day and age. These are the lost communities of Chautauqua County that existed back then. So it's fun to look at there. And then
crazy names.
My favorite example is Sinclairville, which exists today. At one point, it was referred to as St. Clairsville, and I don't know if that was just a misnomer in communication where somebody thought they heard St. Clairsville. So on the map, it actually shows St. Clairsville.
And 1829, what was Ripley?
Ripley was Ripley.
No, it was Quincy. The
Oh,
village
really?
was Quincy. The town was...
The village.
Oh, the village. Yeah, okay.
That was a trick question.
And the township was all the same. The booths there, but in addition to that, the committee has done a wonderful job pulling together 4 speakers to talk about topics of local history. Because what's more fun than sitting in a lecture and learning something about history? And these are in-depth
do we have the
presentations.
topics?
These are humdingers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's have them.
The first one's going to be at 11 a.m. and we have Ray Weigel from the director of the Erie Canal Discovery Center. He's going to be coming there to talk about the 200th anniversary of the opening of the Erie Canal, which really just created this great migration westward, not only across New York State, but of course all the way into the central part of the country. However, Chautauqua County's, I think, population saw a significant increase because of the development that took place in 1820, but also I think largely due to the Erie Canal opening allowed the migration and flooding of population into the county. So I think the population increased close to 75 to 80%, if not more, between 1820 and 1830, and I think that was largely due to the Erie Canal. But anyway, he'll be there to talk about that, and then we have another...
Well, freight costs from Albany dropped from $100 a ton to $14 a ton, and delivery time dropped from 3 weeks to 3 days overnight.
That's huge.
You don't have oxen carrying commodities across rugged roads. You now have a nice, smooth water, and we all know it's much easier to transport.
All those bricks from Albany to...
Right.
You want me to talk about
yes.
the second?
So what's the second one?
The second lecture is by Chautauqua County's own Andrew Colsty, who is office manager down there at Fenton, and it's going to be about Arthur Wellington Anderson, who was an early historian. He was also an advertising man, a photographer, a prohibition activist, a very interesting man, and like all good historians, he died and his grave is unmarked, and the YMCA had to pay for his burial.
Oh, wow. Yep.
That's actually at 2 o'clock on my list, unless the time has changed. But there's one before that. But the 1 o'clock one we have. You know, everyone's been talking a lot about this topic, the 200th anniversary, the bicentennial of Lafayette coming to.
Oh, we celebrated
Chautauqua
it in
County.
Ripley.
First place he ever stepped foot in Chautauqua County was
Ripley.
I didn't know that.
At state line.
So Christopher Carosa, who is an author, will present History Unleashed, Lafayette's remarkable tour.
Yes, he is.
Chris was in Ripley with me when we opened up our...
He wrote this wonderful book about Lafayette's tour.
He's been on my show.
He's
He said right there.
I've got it on my coffee table at home.
He's everywhere. Chris is great.
So if you want to learn about Lafayette's tour of Chautauqua County in western New York and the reason why he came here, you know, a beloved figure in American history, obviously, worked with General Washington. He was sort of a rock star of the 19th and 18th century. So the fact that he was here in Chautauqua County is a big deal.
Yep, big deal.
And Christopher will be talking about that. And then we have one more presentation, right, Norman?
Yes, and that's Paul Fardink, who's going to talk about the Revolutionary War veterans commemoration markers that are being put up in the cemeteries around Chautauqua County. And that's the due to the, what's the name of the...
He doesn't have the name of the presentation. It just says that.
No, it's all of a sudden the name
Sons of the American Revolution.
The funding agency that escapes me.
The Sauer Patriot Marker Burial Program.
Okay.
I believe the Sons of the American Revolution Patriot Marker Burial Program, but I'm not sure where the
foundation.
one of the foundations. We were blessed to have foundations in this area. One of them did provide funding to support this. It might be the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation, Sheldon.
It's a national.
Oh, all right.
All right, guys. We got 30 seconds left. Jeff, let's pop up that poster. Jason, why don't you give us a skinny on times and date and everything for this?
Again, 10 to 4 o'clock, there'll be food there. There'll be parking there as well. There'll be books for sale from local libraries. So there's more than just the lectures and the presentations there, but because it's free and open to the public, stop on by, hang out, and learn a little bit about history.
Where's it at?
Oh, it's at the Fluvanna Community Church right on 3363 Fluvanna Avenue.
And the times are?
10 to 4.
Okay, and it's free of charge.
The Pomeroy Foundation.
Pomeroy. I know Pomeroy. I've done work with them. Guys, thanks for coming in. I wish you the best of luck on your expo. We've run out of time. So, folks, check out the expo coming up next week and go to the Fenton, go to the Chautauqua County Historical Society in Westfield. Talk to your local historians. They got good information. We're going to do this all again next Saturday right here on Chautauqua Sunrise, on Access Chautauqua, Spectrum 1301, and on the radio, WRFA 107.9, Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Have a great weekend. Stay warm. Not a problem. Bye now.